I found my new obsession. I've never been a Genshin Impact fan. I played Honkai Star Rail a lot, but recently felt entirely burnt out and have no motivation to continue its most recent story content. And the most recent Wuthering Waves has lost me quite quickly. Possibly, its open world concept felt quite time consuming when compared to other titles. However, this time, miHoYo's latest IP Zenless Zone Zero hits that sweet spot. Its Splatoon and Jet Set Radio-like urban setting, characters and concept hooked me quickly, making this action-roguelike experience addictive. I'm Arcadenaut here, and today I would like to talk about this new Gacha experience that would entertain you with its 40 hours of content full of challenges and narrative without spending a single coin if you don't want to. So if you enjoy the art style of titles like Hi-Fi Rush, Zenless Zone Zero might be your new favorite after all. Zenless Zone Zero is set in New Eridu, a post-apocalyptic metropolis where the remnants of humanity have taken refuge. The world outside is ravished by hollows, mysterious, monster-filled pocket dimensions being exploited by mega corporations and raided by many factions. As these hollows are both a threat and a resource, different factions have adapted to exploit the valuable materials found within them to survive and thrive in this urban haven. Between the espionage, the struggles between these corporations, and different factions of hollow raiders such as cunning hares to housekeeping services of Victoria, we find ourselves as one of the legendary proxies of New Eridu called Phaeton. The role of a navigator and support for these groups so that they won't be lost within these pocket dimensions. This legendary proxy called Phaeton, the protagonist of Zenless Zone Zero, is actually a group of brothers and sisters called Wise and Belle. You get to choose either Belle or Wise as the main characters of this journey. Belle is a determined, lively and skilled hacker, while Wise brings a strategic mind to the operations. Their dynamic as siblings adds a new kind of a twist to this kind of genre, as both of these characters remain crucial to the narrative, sometimes even taking the mantle of the protagonist when the other sibling is in need. Although the initial narrative starts with Phaeton supporting the Hollow Raider team of cunning hares, consisting of Nicole as their leader, Anbi and Billy Kid, the narrative deepens with each chapter, showcasing more and more of the intricate connections between these factions. Corporations as the player is surrounded with a gritty, cyberpunk-inspired world that blends early 2000s nostalgia with a stylish, futuristic vision. As the story starts with cunning hares stealing a valuable asset from another Hollow Raider faction, with each chapter we find ourselves wrapped in the events of different factions that introduce their members, their own struggles, and the playstyle of those characters. That you can of course obtain by satisfying your gambling addiction and rolling for the sweet spatial or standard banners. I will get to the gacha mechanics shortly, comparing these with other titles, but first I would like to talk more about the narrative, the art design and the characters of Zenless Zone Zero. Starting from the prologue chapter, the narrative is presented through comic book-like scenes, dynamic cutscenes, and the character interactions. These comic book-like scenes or animated cutscenes that seem to be made with Pixar inspirations are where Zenless Zone Zero really shines. Comic book-like scenes deliver character interactions with vibrant illustrations that make the narrative easy to follow for the players. Meanwhile, the dynamic cutscenes easily showcase the abilities and the personality of each and every character of Zenless Zone Zero. These scenes and the sequences are never dull, they never feel bland or out of sync, as these cutscenes keep you feel interested in the world and the characters of this title. On the other hand, Zenless Zone Zero fails to make the character interactions interesting during the TV sequences. As the proxy, Belle and Wise use these bangbus, rabbit-shaped robot-like creatures to guide their team through different hollow dimensions. However, during each hollow sequence, The map interactions take the shape of television design, and there are many unnecessary or overly used tutorials or tips and tricks that can annoy and make you beg for some action to continue. Although this television screen navigation sequences feel pretty exciting and innovative in terms of design, it loses its charm relatively fast, and in a really harsh way. As you undertake different commissions from different customers, sometimes you get to take the role of a detective and solve cases on these television screens. And Zenless Zone Zero really expects you to read each line of dialogue, instead of just going for combat, doing cool combos, parries, assist attacks, or customizing your characters further. At first, I really liked this TV design for level navigation, but it becomes more bland and uninspired with each chapter. I really hope MiHoYo implements some kind of a quality of life update in the near future to make these sequences more captivating, especially when the characters, their move lists, and the team compositions that you can form with 3 characters create an addictive gameplay experience. Zenless Zone Zero is a character-based action experience that also presents roguelike elements within some of its game modes. You get to control a team of 3 characters. The main 3 members of the Cunning Hairs are unlocked at the start, and by completing each quest, each challenge, or more detailed game modes, you obtain resources to spend on either the special character banner or standard banner to get more characters. Basically, that is what you would expect from a gacha game. However, each character of Zenless Zone Zero is vibrant and fun to play, and as far as I've seen, people expected Devil May Cry-like gameplay and were quite upset with what they saw. Even though I get their disappointment, I also respectfully disagree. Since each character has their unique button combinations that can be cancelled into their special moves or lead to assisted chain attacks to perform combos. In addition to that, it's been only several days since Zenless Zone Zero was launched. As far as I've seen on Twitter, people are constantly discovering new team compositions that even lead to creating air combos or touch of death attacks on some occasions. Here I would like to say that Zenless Zone Zero can appeal to fighting game players more than usual. Every character has a different playstyle and gimmick to lengthen their combos or damage over time special. Sometimes it needs you to cancel a special after doing a 3-hit normal attack, or to hold the attack button longer to initiate a chain combo by swapping to another character of your team. I see people lab Zenless Zone Zero characters to unravel their full potential already, so it might be best to keep an eye on these if you feel interested but still hesitate to try. In addition to all these air combos, normal attacks with different button inputs to increase the damage output and inflict stun to enemies, Zenless Zone Zero has also dodge counters, a parry mechanic by swapping your character, and of course, flashy ultimate abilities that inflict status effects like shock, corruption, freeze, and burn. There are characters like Ellen Joe, Soldier 11, and Nakomata that are more burst damage kind of DPS characters. There are characters like Raikon, Kaledo, Anbi, and Ben Biga that are more focused on increasing the stun gauge of the enemy that lead to assisted chain attacks frequently. And there are support characters like Rina, Sousako, and Nicole that grant buffs or inflict debuffs on the enemy, while creating more combo opportunities to stun lock your opponents. Overall, combat is fast-paced and dynamic, as it becomes more and more fluid with each character you unlock as you form your favorite team, while using the parry mechanic in combat frequently, and finally, finding a team that would have high compatibility. Although the main story missions or the bosses mostly create an average challenge if you level up your characters and equip the right gear that would improve their damage output, the real deal challenge starts with roguelike modes Hollow Zero and Shinyu Defense, as these modes want you to upgrade your characters constantly, equipping the best in slot weapons and gears so that you can score an S rank easily to get even more gacha roll resources to spend. Last but not least, Zenless Zone Zero's difficulty can be adjusted to cater to different skill levels, making it accessible if you just want to enjoy the story, have some high action, or something of a Devil May Cry-like experience. It may seem simplistic and relies on button mashing, but with each chapter and each challenge you unlock, Zenless Zone Zero made me want to unlock all of the characters, obtain their best in slot weapons, and improve each character to create different compositions. However, currently, I can't. I simply can't. I reached 35 Arcadenaut level, came to the current endgame content, and I'm at a point where I can only do daily stuff and spend my energy resources carefully. Zenless Zone Zero is, do not forget, an online gacha game with an energy system that prevents you from completing all of its contents in just a day. So calling this stamina system controversial or something like limiting makes sense. But again, we would make a mistake like calling a turn-based JRPG slow or something like not fluid. Since the stamina or energy system is a fundamental mechanic that wants players to log into these games daily, grinding character improvement materials and items, here I would wish to see MiHoYo implementing another quality of life system that they have implemented in Honkai Star Rail. Namely, an energy bank limit for those who miss doing dailies but save their energy so that they can use it whenever they wish to. As this system limits the number of activities player can undertake based on a real-world timer, the energy bank mechanic, like the one in Star Rail, would help players to improve their characters even if they forget to do dailies or simply don't want to log in each day and prefer to do a lot of content in one sit. However, there are no daily limitations to how much money you can spend, how many rolls you wish to spend to get Sharkmate Ellen Jo before her banner disappears, so you know, it's still clinging to its gacha roots as much as it can. And if I were to speak for its gacha system or the percentages to receive one of the special banner characters like Ellen Jo, well, my luck personally is basically shit. I rolled around 70 times for Ellen Jo and again around another 60 to 70 for her best in slot weapon. However, a big however here, I get Ellen Jo on the second day and her best in slot weapon on the third day of its release by doing every content I can. And I still have more than 40 rolls that I can save or spend. I only purchased the battle pass and the monthly subscription thingy that gives me daily resources for gacha rolls, and the rest is just my bad luck and a sign of how addictive Zenless Zone Zero's gameplay is. I hope MiHoYo gives more roles as an appreciation gift or maybe does something like a free S-rank character for everyone in the near future. So I can get Raikon, Grace or Kalido to create a new team for Shinju defense, build a new team composition and enjoy Zenless Zone Zero more than I already do. The world of Zenless Zone Zero, particularly the city of New Eridu, is richly detailed and thoughtfully designed. The art design, the UI, and the cutscene animations remind me a lot of vibrant urban setting titles like Splatoon, Hi-Fi Rush, and Jet Set Radio. And if I were to speak for myself, this right here is my sweet spot. Plus, Zenless Zone Zero is still quite addictive and fun to play without spending a single dollar. However, personally I recommend purchasing the Battle Pass or monthly subscription if you enjoy this experience and willing to play for a while. The gritty yet vibrant cyberpunk elements with unorthodox but likable, charming characters create a title that is worthy of checking out. Although it seems like an ordinary button mashing gacha game full of waifus, Zenless Zone Zero will surprise you with its deep combat mechanics focused on team composition, character-specific move lists, and the lack of big milker waifus at the moment. So it might be best to check it out and see it for yourself. You may find me on Asia Japanese server, so if you are playing in this region, you can add me within the game, or join my Discord channel, or follow me on Twitter to keep up with the updates. Any humble support through Patreon and YouTube join is really appreciated, and I will see you soon. Stay tuned.